Hi everyone, it's Victor speaking, and I'm here today to discuss the second most important aspect of 2021, which is taking place actually today, one of the first hit of this, and that's Saturn sextile Chiron. I believe that no one has really mentioned this very important aspect, but we must talk about it because it's going to have three hits. So as I said, the very first one is happening on the 9th and 10th of February, depending on where you are. And it's going to get repeated in June as well, approximately around the 24th, 25th. And then we're also going to be having the third hit somewhere on the 26th of November. Now, it is very hard to separate the Saturn-Chiron sextile from the Saturn-Uranus square because on one hand, Chiron's orbit is between Saturn and Uranus. So somehow Chiron wants to heal the tension between those two giant planets. And and I would call this aspect as the counterbalances of 2021's most difficult aspect, which is Saturn and Uranus square, as I mentioned before. Now, if you are unaware of what that might mean, I actually recommend checking out my Saturn and Uranus square video, which I made last month. I'm going to post the link above as well, so you can re-listen to it. But let's just start with what sextile means. So sextile is something which is supporting us, understanding the deeper meaning of the radical changes which is occurring in 2021. So Chiron is very much about wounds. It talks about the areas of life where we can be very vulnerable, but at the same time, we can also heal others. So we're talking about karmic wounds. We're talking about the past, which somehow haunts us. This is the place that teaches us to heal ourselves and others as well. So now think about the Saturnian energy. If you combine the two, Saturn very much tries to point out the inadequacies. And sometimes Saturn makes us feel really slow and lonely as well. So when there is Saturn and Chiron involvement going on, we're talking about serious pain. And now it is time to actually heal that pain, which started approximately 1.5 years ago when the Saturn and the Chiron square happened. So now this is the time to start that healing journey. So, but let's just dig into that Chiron a little bit deeper. By the way, I made a video about Chiron in houses and signs. So I post the link above as well. I really recommend listening to it so you can gain some clarification over your own chart as well. But Chiron is the area of life where we got wounded early childhood or in past lives. This is the area where we should get healed, but at the same time to heal others as well. This is all about how to manage chronic conditions. Why chronic conditions? Because Saturn talks about chronic illnesses, and Chiron is all about the healing. Chiron is the medicine that very much talks about the medical field as a collective. So the Saturn Chiron sextile very much talking about actually the COVID situation, which means that some of the healing journey will start as of today. Meaning it's going to be lasting approximately till the 25th of February. And I've already mentioned that in a different video, but I am predicting that some minor restrictions are going to get lifted up in the next few weeks. This Saturn and Chiron sextile also happening around the new moon, which is indicating to me that there is going to be a new beginnings. Maybe even if it's not in the next few weeks, but definitely in the next 6 weeks, we're going to see some advancements in this topic. We do need to remember that we're talking about collective wounds. Why is that? Because Saturn is in the sign of Aquarius. So Saturn and Chiron are the greatest mentors. So it does indicate that some of the old wounds which are coming up, we need to transform those into something better. And actually, someone asked me a few months ago on my YouTube channel what I mean by restructuring the old and turning that into something new. And I can't really tell you what that means because that very much depends on your personal chart. But I will give you an example. Some of your old habits needs to be transformed into something completely different, but you might want to be using some old techniques for it. For instance, this is one of the ways how you can interpret what it means to combine the new as well as the old techniques. So the major question Saturn and Chiron always ask you, and probably this is the question you have to ask yourself the entire year. What am I learning from this? What am I learning from everything what is going on in the world? Are you going to ask yourself this question, or are you just going to go with the flow? Because Saturn is always a little bit of a forceful energy. It's going to pry up those wounds. Saturn Chiron is very much about picking the wounds. We just need a little bit of a Marsian flavor to it, and then it's all there. So this aspect is very much about learning how to deal with your own emotions. Did you have a fear of being rejected? Or did you have a fear of not being part of something? Have you been depressed, which has been following your entire year so far? Because then it's time to heal. How am I going to get out of that depressive state of mind? And at the same time, when you are granted your freedom, actually, did you get used to being alone a lot? Are you going to be able to get back into your daily routines? So this is the reason why I'm guessing we are going to be having three of these aspects, because for many people, it's not going to be as easy. We are probably completely used to being locked up, not meeting people. And once we have got the opportunity, we might need a little bit of a prompting. And maybe Saturn, which is the government, is going to be prompting that healing process by prompting you, I don't know, by giving you, let's say, a 50% discount to go and eat out or something like that. But I feel like the government is going to start prompting people to start the healing process. So, but also the Saturn and Chiron aspect very much talks about to become the kind of parent you have always wanted to have. So you might want to be considering to have your own mentor who can actually help you heal your karmic wounds. Of course, we're talking about limitations and restrictions with Saturn, which leads to fears. So when Chiron comes around, it means that you have to deal with that because it's running deep. So it's very much about overcoming the obstacles with all the power struggle going on in the world. Some past wounds might be actually haunting you, and this is going to be the time when you have to deal with that. And how are you going to be dealing with that? Probably by taking it serious. Saturn is all about taking responsibility for my own wounds. So the reason why I wanted to mention that, because when we have got a little bit of a bittersweet life, and let's be honest, we all had that, right? We tend to be blaming others. But this is exactly the aspect which says that you need to take ownership over what is going on right now in your life. Yes, it is very frustrating. You might not be able to do some of the traditions you used to. For instance, I won't be able to go out on a Valentine's Day. But we need to see the opportunity behind this. Sextile says that I can have an intimate closeness with my partner at home. So it's very important to learn with this aspect that we can't blame others. Many of the people with Chiron and Saturn energy, they can get lost in their own world and they become the victim of something bigger. And actually, Saturn is asking, as I said, to take the blame as well, because we are part of this. So Saturn always wants to teach us that, yes, we all have got wounds, but no need for them to define us. We are not them. So Saturn and Chiron aspect always says that the mind, body, and the spirit needs to be healed at the same time. So you're going to have to ask yourself the question, how are you going to do that? Because it is not time anymore to be hiding from your own wounds. Saturn kind of says that you cannot do that. So Chiron is, yes, the wounded healer. And it could be emotional, psychological, and physical as well. So this could bring physical pain, actually, but also this wounding can be kind of a catalyzing challenge as well. It might something which you have to deal with from your childhood or past lives. It is very much about suffering, but it is very, it is a shadow work. So if you embrace your shadow, then you are on the right track. So yeah, it is all about looking behind the mirror as well, rather than just trying to heal superficially. So Chiron does encourage us to work with a mentor, someone who is going to give us a wisdom, someone who is going to help us what's going on within us. So this is a brilliant time to study some healing techniques. And Saturn's main meaning is all about structure, right? So this year is all about destabilizing all structures, which is not serving the highest good anymore. And it could be external, it could be internal, it could be conceptual or even physical. But somehow, no matter which way you choose, you're going to have to step on that, because this is the year of a milestone. Great. So I hope this is helping you to understand the Saturn Chiron aspect. As I said, we are going to be having 3 hits from this. And the first hit is always about a reminder. It brings up the wound. Sorry, it's not really a reminder, but it brings up the wound you have to be working with. The second one is very much about a reminder that you haven't done much at the very first time. So it's all about taking it a step further. And then if you haven't dealt with it, the first 2 occasions, I usually call the third hit as the kick in the butt energy, and it's going to be a little bit painful. Even though this is a sextile, these are very, very serious planets. So there is no point in playing around with it. So thank you very much for listening to me, and please press like, ring the notification bell so you can hear more from me, and also please share my videos. I would like to have a lovely community on my channel. I'm very grateful to having you here, and then see you soon. Bye-bye.